England's Dartmoor National Park is an ancient place. Many believe it's haunted by the spirits who lived here during the Neolithic and Bronze Ages. 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, this land was covered with a vast forest. Now it's mostly a vast, windswept, barren moor. But Dartmoor is not dead. It's just different. In 1951, Dartmoor became a national park. It's located in the county of Devon and covers 368 square miles or 954 kilometers. While it appears remote and otherworldly, it's actually only about 10 miles from the English Channel town of Plymouth on England's southwest coast. Dartmoor gets its name from the river's Dart. The land seems to have suddenly erupted out of the landscape. At its highest point, it's 621 meters or 2,037 feet above sea level. Over the millennia, the climate has changed dramatically several times. It's gone from temperate to cold, back to temperate, then colder and wetter. Humans played a role in creating what we see today. To clear the land for agriculture, they often used fire. When the climate became too cold to sustain human habitation, the people were forced to abandon the land. Dartmoor gets about 79 inches of rain each year. Much of the ground is covered with a thick layer of peat that gives the land a wet, soggy feel. The remains of stone huts, graves, stone circles, boundary lines, and standing stones are still here. Dartmoor is rich with antiquities. Thousands of sites dot the landscape, drawing local residents like Gerald Morton. He's been walking the moors since he was a boy.
This is my favourite spot on the moors. So much going on. We've got hut circles, stone rows, and most of them are 2,500 BC. So 4,500 to 6,000. And nobody can really tell you. What you see today is a barren landscape, but back even as far back as the 10,000 BC, the last ice age, they reckon it was all forested.
Dartmoor only has about 33,000 permanent residents. 51% of the national park is in private hands. The Ministry of Defense owns about 14% of the park. It maintains a large base that's been used for training and artillery practice for over 200 years. Public access to almost all of the land is guaranteed by law, meaning private owners may not keep people from walking through their property. Dartmoor is extremely popular with walkers. It's also a great place for horseback riding, rafting, fishing, and rock climbing. In hundreds of places on the moors, you'll find large stone outcroppings called tors. The Hound tor is a great example. Legend says a witch turned a pack of dogs into these stones. The Hound tor was part of the inspiration for Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes story, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Dartmoor has inspired many writers, including Agatha Christie and J.K. Rowling, who made it the site of the World Quidditch Championship in the Harry Potter book, The Goblet of Fire. The moor is alive with wild ponies, the descendants of escaped farm animals. They range freely on the moors, so do the sheep. Farmers turn them loose to graze. They spray paint colors on their sheep so that they can sort them out when the grazing season is over. Princetown is the main town in the park. It's the home of the park's main visitor center, which has a small museum. Princetown is also the home of the infamous Dartmoor prison. The prison, which is still in use, was built by French prisoners captured during the Napoleonic Wars and American prisoners captured during the War of 1812. There are many sites in the park. Having a car or a local tour guide make it much easier to get around. Post Bridge is a popular stop. The hamlet is the home of a 13th century stone clapper bridge. It was built so that pack animals carrying baskets of tin ore could cross the East Dart River. A newer bridge was constructed in the 1780s. The village of Widcombe in the moors is another highlight. There are only about 200 family units in the village, but there are pubs and cafes and a large, lovely church named in honor of St. Pancras. Pancras was a 14-year-old Christian martyr and the patron saint of children. St. Pancras is referred to as the Cathedral in the Moors. In 1638, during a church service, the building was struck by lightning. Legend says it was the devil coming to Whitcomb. 4 people were killed and 60 injured. Buckland Abbey, about 8 miles north of Plymouth, is a National Trust property. It was a Cistercian monastery seized by King Henry VIII when England broke with the Roman Catholic Church. The abbey was eventually sold to Sir Francis Drake. Drake was born in Tavistock, about 11 miles away. He was an explorer, privateer, and vice admiral of the English fleet that defeated the Spanish Armada during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. Dartmoor is an extraordinary place, rich in history, with lessons to teach us today about mankind's role in climate change. The moors are definitely worth taking time to visit. Travel is one of the few things we can do that will actually make us richer.